Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. And today is Wednesday, and so I thought we would take a look at the lesson that's actually assigned for evening prayer, and that is from St. John's Gospel, the 4th chapter. Now, we're actually going to have this particular lesson is divided up over 2 days. It's a long story. It's about the Samaritan woman at the well. So we have an opportunity to look at both the first section of it, and then tomorrow we can take a look at the second section. Of course, you may be wondering what that is over my shoulder there. That is what we call the warm fuzzy tree. It used to be called the mitten tree, but it's expanded. And near the end of, after we collect gifts for the Georgia Street Collective for Christmas, for the gifts for the children, we then turn around and this tree becomes the receptacle for all sorts of warm things: hats, gloves, scarves, sweaters, socks, things like that, which we donate to the shelter. So if you have one, we'll be collecting them until January 23rd. If you want to drop them off at the church, that'd be wonderful. So today's lesson, John chapter 4, beginning at verse number 1. When, therefore, the Lord knew how the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself baptized not, but his disciples, he left Judea and departed again into Galilee. And he must needs go through Samaria. Then cometh he to the city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near a parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus saith unto her, Give me to drink, for his disciples were gone away into the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Jesus answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith unto thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Jesus answered and said to her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. Okay, so first of all, we've got to put our mindset in the fact that this is the desert, right? If you've ever been to the Holy Land, and I mentioned this before, it'd be nice for us to organize a trip as the pandemic comes to an end. But Israel, that area is a desert, and water makes all the difference in the world. Here, we get used to, we just turn on the spigot and there's water, right? And especially those of us here in the Great Lakes states, I mean, in California, they have water problems, but here in the Great Lakes state, we've got water in abundance. But in the desert, it's just a little bit more or less rain in Israel will make the difference between it being a prosperous and a producing area for food and for people to be able to drink, and making it a desert where that cannot happen. And you can see, actually, when you stand on the mountain on the other side of Jerusalem, you can see off into what is known as the wasteland, the wilderness, and you can see the line where the rain just doesn't reach to as often, and you can see the difference in the terrain because of water. So having something like a well is vitally important, right? The people of Egypt went through the desert and had the well. And in Genesis, you hear the story about Jacob digging wells. So it's very important for us to think about them, go through their minds and think about how important water is for their basic survival. Now here's Jesus, who's talking to a Samaritan, which of course that's verboten, right? You don't talk to Samaritans. They're unclean. They had nothing to do. Jews have nothing to do with the Samaritans because they really do have false doctrine. They've combined strange other religions with a bit of the Jewish religion. And so they are, in fact, wrong theologically. But this is the woman who's there, and Jesus is going to work something pretty amazing with her tomorrow when we read the rest of the story. But today, we will hear that Jesus Christ is, in fact, a living water. And we need to drink deeply of him and of his doctrine, because in him will spring up a wellspring to eternal life, right? This idea. So anyway, I hope that's helpful for you. And so next time you're really thirsty, right, think about Jesus and think about how he promises to be water that leads to eternal life, and what an enticement that must be for this person hearing this particular story, and should be for us as well. Today's Wednesday, 12:15 Holy Communion, 5 o'clock evening prayer. Join us in person or join us online. Either way, I hope that you have a day that is full of blessings.